Happy New Year. It's a time where we look back and reflect. It's also a time where we move forward and plan for the year ahead. And as I sit on the brink of another one, blessed to still be floating around on this rock in space, I continue to think about what truly matters. And for me, being on YouTube for over a decade, seeing the rise, seeing the fall of many, watching as money has come in for creators, watching as money goes, watching as fame, likes, attention, clout, all that comes in, I'm consistently reminded that even though we get caught up in life, we get caught up in our goals, we get caught up in our dreams, we get caught up in what we're chasing, the one most important commodity and most important asset that you can have, that you own, is time. And who you choose and how you choose to spend it. And for me, there's nothing more important than spending that time with the people who matter most, with the people I love, with the people I value and care about. And I hope that wherever you are watching this, that as this new year comes in, you also get to spend time with those who matter. There's nothing more important than that. You can't put a price tag on memories. You can't put a price tag on those moments. And of course, the second most obvious thing to me is that it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what you own. If you don't have your health, you're not going to be a very rich person, because there's nothing more important than your health as well. And as you plan for the next year, as you plan for what comes, I hope you incorporate that into your plans as well. And just taking care of yourself. And I'm not just talking about here, I'm talking about up here. And take it from someone who has gone through struggles. You know, I've talked about the many losses that I face. I talk about the deaths in my family. My mom fighting through chemo. My wife with her health scare. Me with my own health issues. And there's nothing more important than making sure that you spend time to take care of what's going on up here. And yeah, it's I always find it difficult to talk about, but you guys know that I'm always trying to be transparent. And that's why I like doing just these videos where I just put the camera on and talk, and hopefully share some of my experiences, share some of my outlooks and story, and hope that maybe it can impact someone who's watching positively. You know, this year hasn't been easy on YouTube. We've talked about all the issues. The broken copyright system, which has always been crazy to me, which I've always gone on about. And for those who don't know, you know, it makes life so much more difficult, especially for a reaction channel, when you get served a copyright strike, when you get served a takedown notice and you go to fight it, and it's not YouTube who decides your case. It's not YouTube who decides the fate of that video. It's not even a third, you know, unbiased party. It's the person or company that served you the claim, that served you the strike. They are your judge. They are your juror. And until that changes, you're going to have a system that sets up to be exploited. And it's been exploited many times before. And, you know, speaking of the life of a reaction channel, which I don't recommend for anyone, by the way, but if there are fellow reactors watching out here, maybe this video helps you in some way in terms of your planning and just understanding. But I was fortunate enough, or unfortunate enough, to sit down in a room with the legal team of UMG, going through copyright strikes and going through this situation. And for me, one of the most foretelling things was going into that meeting. I'm sat going, how do labels view us? Because for me, you look at the comments on my channel, you look at what we do, the amount of people that we get to have a new view of an artist, have a new appreciation of that artist. You know, I've always felt like we have the ability to be like the modern day tastemakers, the modern day DJs, putting people on to music, helping people appreciate the music that they listen to. But unfortunately, that's not how one of the biggest music labels and most powerful ones in the world sees us. I was told point blank, and given an example, if Eminem drops a music video and I react to that Eminem music video, they see me as taking direct views away from that music video. And that's crazy. Think about the implications of that. Think about, you know, how massive and powerful UMG is. And that's just one label and how they see us. And then I was also told that, you know, they don't think that reaction channels really move the needle for the big artists. So like, if Kendrick Lamar drops, they don't see us as helping Kendrick in any way. they still see us as taking away views, and there's no net positive, which is just crazy to me, because again, like, when you aggregate all the reaction channels, when you add it all up and you see the traffic that gets sent, views are still views, profit is still profit. You know, we're still increasing engagement. We're helping to make people aware. Maybe people aren't aware that someone dropped, and then we react to it, and then it makes them aware. You know, there's so many instances and situations where I thought maybe a label would have a wider scope on the potential of reaction channels, and hopefully the potential symbiotic relationship that we could have and what could be built. But instead, we're just viewed as, to me, more of a nuisance, more of an enemy than a possible ally. And when you zoom back and you start to think about the changes at YouTube, it starts to make more sense. You know, on YouTube, they've gone through a massive change overnight. And this happened a couple months ago, and there are some creators that have talked about this, that have spoken on this. But basically, there's been a huge drop in YouTube views. And the reason for that is because YouTube has decided that if they can't monetize your view, they're not going to count your view. So if you're using an ad blocker, if you're using anything like that, it doesn't count. So us creators now have actually no idea and no scope on how many views we're actually getting, how many people are actually watching our videos. We only know the amount of monetizable views. That's all YouTube is counting. And creators have shown their desktop views just going way down overnight, because that's where a lot of ad blockers are. But yeah, that's affected the whole industry. And then on top of that, I think reaction channels are down in general because of those changes, but also because of further changes. You know, it used to be that if you watched a Knox Hill video, you enjoyed what I do, at the end of the video, you would get recommended another Knox Hill video. That's not the case anymore. If I react to an artist, if I react to, say, you know, a Cardi B, and at the end of that reaction, if you enjoyed my reaction to it, you enjoyed my thoughts, it's not going to recommend you more reactions of me doing that artist, more videos of me. It's going to recommend Cardi B to you. It's going to recommend the artist that I was reacting to and their songs, which seems minor, seems small, but that's a huge change, especially if there's not a balance to that in terms of what gets recommended, because that's something that we rely on, right? That's something that goes underappreciated on YouTube. You know, what gets recommended, and that pumps into SEO. That pumps into performance of the channel. Once someone watches one of your videos, if they get recommended more of your videos. And then those changes have also affected SEO. They've also affected search when it comes to searching for songs, when it comes to searching for reaction channels. So you take all these different situations that I'm explaining, the outlook of the labels, the changes to YouTube, how it's affected us in terms of views. And you just see this melting pot and this ingredients for why reaction channels pretty much across the board are down and underperforming. And another theory that I have, which is more instinct, but to me, considering all these different factors, makes sense, is that it's also influenced by the labels. Because think about how they view us. Think about that scope, right? If they don't view us as assets, then we're a problem to them, because they can't control us, because, you know, we're not deciding through them who we react to. We're not deciding through them who we do. You know, we're not on their payroll. And at the end of the day, labels have shown throughout their history, throughout the past, what happens when they lose control. Look at the Napster days. That was so revolutionary, but that scared the shit out of the labels, because that took the power away from the big music labels. And they had to consolidate. And then Apple Music came out, and Spotify. And now labels have a very comfortable, very cushy, very nice positioning with the Apple Musics, with the Spotifys. There's a lot of money that gets passed. There's a lot of promotion of their artists, a lot of algorithmic program recommendations to make sure that their artists are getting views, their artists are getting seen, and they're getting the money that they want to get. And they're very much in control of the current system. And for me, reactors present a possible change, a possible affectation to that system, and they're not happy with that. So things have to change. And I think that's a part of what we're seeing. So knowing all this, making videos like this just puts a bigger target on my back. But I'm also sharing this because hopefully there's some reactors out there watching who are learning some new things. And hopefully you as a viewer can just always appreciate where I'm coming from and why I'm moving the way that I move. And where do we go from here? Well, you've already started to see it. on my main channel, I've started to incorporate more commentary videos. I've started to incorporate more video essays. And I'm going to keep doing that because I enjoy it. I just enjoy being creative. I enjoy making content. I enjoy talking about hip hop, talking about music, talking about different topics. It's fun. It's something I'm passionate about. So I'm going to continue to expand that on the channel. I've also started to post more on a second channel. If you guys aren't aware, I have a second channel. And for me, that's always like the backup channel. And that lets me expand the sandbox. And I think you're going to start seeing more reactions pushed over onto the second channel of other genres. So if you guys haven't followed that, I highly recommend you check out my second channel, because that's just going to give me more opportunities to continue expanding, to continue evolving, and figuring out how to navigate and manage the new waters that there is, because that's what we do. You know, we have to adapt. Changes happen. Life happens. You know, you adjust and you move forward. The other thing I'm excited about is I'm going to get involved in the podcast space. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for announcements on that. But yeah, podcasts are coming. The Patreon as well, which has always been a huge staple, a great way to support me. More content coming to the Patreon. I continue to crank out Patreon. It's a great community on there. So again, if you want to check all this out, all links will be down there. And as always, if things do go south, when YouTube gets shitty on me, a great way to keep up with what's going on, not just through these little videos that we do, but if you want to stay more in tune and more updated, follow me on socials. I try to post on Twitter as much as possible. I'm super engaged on Instagram. That's one of my most active ones. Facebook as well, I'm still highly engaged on. I have a TikTok too. But yeah, I'm rolling out more shorts, more content on there. But again, if you just want to stay tapped in to what's going on, it all helps. It all really does go a long way. Don't just support me on one moat. Help me build more moats to keep the shit floating. Check out my socials down below. And yeah, on the music side of things, that's never going to stop. I'm currently planning out my tour for this summer. So if you guys want to come watch me and see me live, I mean, last year we did Germany, UK, USA. We have more shows coming, more announcements coming. So again, stay tapped in with the socials, because I'll be announcing those soon. If you guys want to come see me, if you want to come meet me, there will be that opportunity again. I'm so excited for that. You know, I'm never going to stop being an artist. You know, music is my outlet. It's my self-expression. And as long as there's someone out there who's going to listen, I'm going to keep putting out music. You know, that'll never stop, no matter what anyone says or does. And, you know, I'm blessed to have the opportunities that I've had. So yeah, that's kind of a look back and a look ahead. You know, this year is going to be a big year for me, and kind of deciding my future and where we go. And I'm looking forward to it. And kind of how we started this video is how I want to end it. Speaking on time. You know, for whatever reason, you guys can spend your time anywhere. And yet you choose to spend some of that valuable time with me. And for that, I am forever grateful and forever appreciative of the platform that I have, all because of you guys. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Happy New Year. Take care of yourselves. I'll catch you in 2026.